Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Hear me on Twitch, good. Hello, hello. I am, for some reason, I'm not getting Steam yet. I'm gonna just keep refreshing here. There it is. Steam just went live. Fantastic. Just barely went up for me too. Okay, I'm looking. I've got chat feeds across the board. Just send out a welcome message to make sure. There we go. We got Facebook. YouTube, are you working? YouTube is working. Awesome. Everything is working. Sorry for the minor delay there. We just are multi-streaming right now across several different platforms, so we just have to make sure everything's working right as we get started. So, just to reiterate, we're live right now on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Steam, etc. So, lots of different chat feeds and things to monitor, but we're all live and everything looks like it's working right now. So, fantastic. Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay. So welcome one and all to Mapmaker Monday. My name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is this program you see in front of you. It is a map-making utility, or it's a map-making tool more, and an immersion utility. That allows you to build intricate maps for your fantasy-based tabletop games. You can build maps entirely by hand, or you can generate maps in moments using our proprietary procedural generation AI. Now, I know a lot of people hear AI and they immediately get up in arms. I just want everyone to be aware that Dungeon Alchemist AI is not like next-gen AI. It's not generative. It's last-gen procedural generation AI. Additionally, at no point, at any point in time when we were developing our AI, did we utilize any public data, art, maps, etc. to train our AI. So it was developed entirely in-house, trained internally on our own data sets, our own maps, etc. All the assets in DA were made entirely in-house. So it's, as far as we're concerned, it's about as ethical as you can be when approaching AI. And we feel using AI to help you build maps quickly is a good way to save time and probably a good use of AI. Anyway, moving on. Enough about that little rant. Today's stream is a focus on building a map in real time for you all to watch and follow along. This map we've been building. Oh, I know, right? Random Zero? It's crazy how in the last 2 years it's completely changed. Yeah, it used to be a very, very strong selling point, and now we need to distinguish ourselves and make sure people understand. However, even before generative AI was a thing, we were still taking an ethical approach to our development. all the art in Dungeon Alchemist used in our AI is developed entirely in-house by our talented team of artists. All the development was done in-house, so I think at the end of the day, it's like a really good approach. You know what I mean? No scraping of any public art or maps or data or anything like that to train it, so realistically, I think it's about as good as it could be. But, you know, I do think that as time progresses, more and more people will kind of come to terms with the fact that AI is kind of everywhere, actually. You have it on your smartphone, and some people have it in their cars. Shoot, laundry machines can have it in fridges, and intersections, and stock trading, and... So, Rev, I've found that our creators, usually that build by hand, are able to post in most of those places. However, some of them do have kind of like strict rules. For instance, like our fantasy maps only allows one post per day from programs that have like AI in them, which is weird. I don't know. Anyway, some places are kind of strict about it, and I understand initially when it was like first introduced and hit the community, there was a lot of concern about, you know, people losing their ability to sell their art, and you know, people putting up low quality maps. And at the end of the day, you know, we all know Dungeon Alchemist makes a high quality map, whether it's AI generated or you put in, you know, dozens of hours by hand. So this map, we started it a couple months ago, and I haven't been working on it like 2 months straight. It's just been every Monday for about a half hour each week on stream. During these streams, the stream is AMA format, which means ask me anything. So if you have any questions related to Dungeon Alchemist, open up the chat and let us know, you know, whether you have a question about how to build something or how to export correctly, or maybe you're looking to purchase and you're wondering, you know, XYZ, ABC, how to do anything, or can it do certain things. That's what I'm here for. So feel free to ask away. And remember, my name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. So at the end of the day, you are in the right place to ask questions related to DA. I do want to remind our viewers that we are on sale right now, 20% off for the Steam Winter Sale. It's an honor to be included. And that sale ends in just a few days, I think on the 2nd. Additionally, I would like to point out that if you are kind of on the fence about Dungeon Alchemist, we have a free demo, so you can try before you buy, allowing you to kind of get a feel for DA without investing too much time or money into it. Yeah, this is Dungeon Alchemist right in front of you. Here, Wilhelm. So sorry for the 3-minute advertisement there. That's a good question. You know, there might be a bug in the linking between the sites right now. It sometimes has issues. And so thanks for letting me know, Stohov. I will let my team know. Could you, are you in our Discord by chance? This has happened before, though. I need to let our team know. If you're in our Discord, you could DM me pictures of what you're seeing, like screenshots. Otherwise, I'm going to have to wait until at the end of the stream, and then I'll get some screenshots of it, and I'll send it off to the team. But knowing that that's a problem, I'm going to get it dealt with, like, as soon as possible. Because, yeah, Kraken maps, that's great, but once in a while, they update their site or something, and then the redirect doesn't work. Let's see here. Wilhelm, I will definitely answer your questions. Give me just a moment here, just providing support to someone really quickly. Can you just... Cool, perfect, thank you. If you could DM me a screenshot or post it in a support thread on Discord, That way we have a record of it and I can get the dev team involved. However, I will say this, it may not get dealt with until like around the 6th because most of the team is out of the office. I'm like the only person working right now. Okay, so Wilhelm, what you see in front of you, Alex, I'll get your question in just 1 second, okay? So what you're looking at in front of you is Dungeon Alchemist. It's the pride and joy of an indie team of developers, about 10 total people on the team, and basically it was dreamed up by 2 developers in Belgium who wanted a better map making solution. And they started working on it just prior to the pandemic, and I think the timing of it all was kind of, I guess, everyone being at home, wanting to game, checking out map making and stuff, it really lined up, I guess, to a degree for Dungeon Alchemist. But what you see in front of you is essentially, 2.5, 3 years of development and improvements and updates and features and changes to make the program that much better. I have been working on this map for a few months, so it's actually got some of the latest and greatest in it, but at the same time, I have like 3,000 hours of map making under my belt, so I have like lots of tips and tricks to share. That's kind of the whole point of these streams. We make a map live for people to watch, and then people can ask questions or share feedback and help with the build. And at the end of the day, it's we have this huge map that we can share. So we're working on this cemetery that we will eventually share on Steam Workshop, where we have close to 10,500 maps that are shared by our community that anyone can download and use for their campaigns. Okay, Alex, that is a very good question. So Alex on YouTube asks, how does DA ensure it remains financially stable since it's a one-time purchase? So that's a really good question. So Dungeon Alchemist was first conceived and originalized, at least funding and capital-wise, as a Kickstarter. Okay, we had a Kickstarter, and during that Kickstarter was a series of stretch goals. We hit every single stretch goal and raised a good major round of capital. Okay. That was our, first influx of, capital, and that is what got us to the point that we could launch early access and beyond. And I believe the devs have ensured just that money alone should last us, clear up to full access. And between then and like when we launched early access and full access, we've been selling DA on Steam the whole time. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I do think, it is kind of strange to see a business with a one-time purchase model nowadays, right? And a lot of people are concerned, but we don't have any like network infrastructure behind this that is a concern. Steam Workshop, Steam hosts all the maps and the 3D assets, so we don't host that ourselves, right? And that's where you start getting into major expenses, is of like online hosting of multiplayer or anything like that. So we've negated a lot of that expense. Secondly, we have a nice lean team of less than 10 people, as I mentioned earlier. Thirdly, we're not too prone to do anything feature creep. We have a very, very strict vision and roadmap. We have added a few things along the way because our team has seen excitement from our community regarding, suggestions and ideas around certain things that they want. For instance, our next update will be including MultiLevel, which, a lot of people want really badly, but it was something we never intended to build in Dungeon Alchemist, right? So one-time purchase, honestly, I think more now it's big companies are going away from one-time purchase into like, annual season passes and, microtransactions and stuff like that because they want to get every cent they can out of their fan base. And, I think it's still very viable to have a one-time purchase model for a product that doesn't need, major online support. And if we run it through Steam and do our updates and all our workshop support through there, I think overall we should be good. Now, but we definitely don't do anything that would, like, we always get asked, hey, are you guys going to do cyberpunk? You're going to do sci-fi? we have a vision right now that is our Kickstarter that focuses around the fantasy aesthetic, right? So we're not going to jump ship and go into a whole new aesthetic until we leave early access and have delivered on all our Kickstarter promises. At which point, then we would say offer optional expansions. Do you remember back? I don't know. I'm an old school gamer, okay? And I'm not even that old of a gamer. There's gamers much older than me. But what I'm getting at is when I was growing up, a game was like a one-time purchase, and that was it. Really, the only games that had add-ons were like PC games, and they were typically expansions. And expansions were like so big, it was like a whole game unto itself, right? So what I envisioned for Dungeon Alchemist's future, based on what the devs have told me, is that once we leave early access and have delivered on all our Kickstarter promises, then we're going to venture into optional expansions that anyone can choose to buy if they want, but it would be a nominal fee and add on thousands of new objects, dozens of new rooms, a bunch of new biomes, let's say in a sci-fi aesthetic, and it all works within the Dungeon Alchemist infrastructure and tools. You know what I mean? Now, that being said, the DLC, Dungeon Alchemist, there will never be any monthly fees. There will never be anything like that. Everything will be one-time purchase for lifetime licenses. Anything beyond the core DA functions and improvements, quality of life and stuff like that will be optional. And that's way down the road. I'm guessing 2-3 years at best. So that, and we're also this small indie team that doesn't have a major publisher we're working with. So again, we don't have like all these people pulling our strings and, messing around with us. We're pretty much in control of our future right now. And I think part of that was just the fact that we had such a successful Kickstarter run, which I don't know all the details about because that wasn't when I was on the team. It happened before I joined. No, I have it set to friends, like to DM me, like it gives me a message request because I get a lot of spam. I probably get more spam than anyone in the server. And I don't mean that to anyone who messages me for help or asking questions to DA. I just get a lot of spam. And so I have filters set up for message requests. So this right here is a demonstration of multi-level in the next update. There's several videos I have that can kind of showcase this. Give me 1 second. Let me show you just building a multi-level building and how quick it is. Unfortunately, this video is kind of cut off. Half the UI is missing. I don't know if you notice, but my boss's monitor is so big. It's like an ultra wide 8K monitor. So when he records, it's like this thin strip. So I always tell him to just cut a section that's like 1920 by 1080 or 2K, 4K. So it's easier to work with, right? And so he'll cut it down and it's missing some UI. But in the new update, there's a UI piece that's added up here in the right where the camera icon is. And it shows a number, 0, 1, 2, whatever level you're on, that's the number. There's arrows at the top and bottom you can click on to go up and down, or you can use the hotkeys plus and minus to jump between levels. But when you jump up a level, it automatically allows you to start building on that level. I see a message request. Hold on. I got it. I'll get this to the devs today. So thank you so much for that. I apologize I didn't confirm right away. Sentinel, thank you for the follow. Multiple levels will be in our next update. This is a teaser footage of our next update, which should be launching Q1 of next year. So in the next, probably 3.5, 4 months. Hey, Cronkler, how you doing? Sentinel, thank you for that follow, by the way. But as you can see here, you could quickly generate a room on top of a room. You can have balconies and whatnot. Let me show you all another clip. This one's great. By the way, thank you so much for the likes, TikTok. Oh, you would, Rev? I finally have a stable enough build I can start recording. So, Cronclore, each level will be essentially a new export, a new scene, a new JPEG, a new MP4, whatever you're exporting as. The thing about it, though, and this is something to take into account, in the back, behind the scenes right now, one of our developers is working on a mass exporting tool. And what I mean by that is a tool that will help essentially supplement this new feature and speed up the export process. Because if you have, say, 10 levels in a building, exporting that one at a time is going to be a nightmare. But if you can batch it and leave your computer alone while you go do something else, you come back and it'll be done. Yes, Rev. And they'll also dynamically cut holes into the ceilings above. We had them, essentially, a lot of objects had to be kind of retired and remade. A lot of pillars, stairs, like all the downward stair section of the objects is removed. All the stairs are now just up and down stairs. They're universal, okay? Universal stairs. No more pit stairs. So essentially, from now on, it will be a lot easier to transition between levels. I mean, I've been playing with it a little bit. You can do like ladders, you can do stairs. There's all these different ways to transition between the spaces, walkways, etc. So no more manual escalators. Escalator, out of order. Temporarily, stairs. Gosh. There likely won't be backwards compatibility, Remy. From what I have heard, pretty much old maps will be old maps, and they'll be kind of depreciated in that regard, and new maps going forward will be new maps. Hey, hobbyist, awesome to hear it. Unfortunately, you know, if the map has, you know, like multi-level you built by hand, or you're using, you know, old stairs in the map and objects like pillars and things that have been depreciated, it just likely, I mean, you could probably build new stuff on the map, right? But I'm not sure how this will work, to be honest. Yeah, the tracing tool, exactly. You'll know exactly how big your maps were before, because you could look at the old one and then just bring it in and do a trace. Hobbyist, so how long you been using Dungeon Alchemist? I mean, I would really only worry about it, Sentinel, if you're doing multi-level by hand in your maps right now. Meaning if you're building the second and third levels and verticality by hand, I would worry about it. Yeah, that's the thing, Remy. I'm not sure. Because from my understanding, they've been removed. I don't even know if old maps will open in the new... I mean, they should open and, like, be able to work on them, but I don't know how it'll, like... I'm very confused at the end of the day. But from what Wim has mentioned, it seems like, you know, the depreciated assets are essentially gone. And so... This is a teaser for our next update, hobbyist. Was there any questions I missed? I just want to make sure that I didn't miss any. By the way, I gotta just say, I hope you all have a happy new year. Very, you know, excited for this next year because it's going to be big year for Dungeon Alchemist. We've got a lot on the horizon, just on the edge of the horizon here. I'm sure the maps will open and you'll be able to use them, but from my understanding is like... No, you know what? That is a good question. I need to find out more on that before I can speak to it wholly. That is, you know, that's a good question, Remy. What was my on gift that I really liked? I got a couple cool things that I was really excited about. How about you, Asmodeus? Are you liking your 3D printer? You remember you telling me you were going to get one of those? Let's see here. Let me think on it for a minute. So, I got a couple of things, right? And, they're all things I wanted. I got, like, let's see here. I don't know. This year was one of the first Christmases in recent memory where I was able to, like, purchase and afford everything I wanted without a worry, you know? So that was nice. I guess that was kind of just the best thing about it. But the thing about this year was I was able to get my son something to help him. He has carpal tunnel, really bad carpal tunnel. It's like hereditary in our family. My grandma had it, my uncle and mom have it, and it affects him really hard, really badly, and he can't game. So I actually got him an adaptive controller, the Xbox adaptive controller. And I basically got him that and like some switches and buttons from Logitech that match with it, and it was the first time he's been able to really game in like a few months with relative ease. We hung out, and played a game called Slay the Spire. It's kind of like it's a card game meets like a RPG type game. But anyway, it was just so nice to see him happy and be able to game again. I honestly, that was more like amazing than any gift I got for myself. So, sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. You gotta say, Hero Forge integration is awesome. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you like it. Have you seen that you can actually download tokens on the workshop as well? If you click on Steam Workshop here, this tab here, and then go to Browse Assets, this token tab there matches over here, right? The chess piece, the pawn. Click that. There's over 500 tokens available here. Varying quality, styles. Some are animated even, so they move and do things. Some have multiple animation states. If they're gray, like these are usually STL tokens, which means you can change the color of them. You can't like paint them, but you can change the solid color between them. It's pretty cool. Anyway. Thanks, Evo. So, let's see. My favorite gift. I got this amazing new dice set, and I'm really impressed with it. I like it a lot. I posted it in our Discord. I shared it in the GM chat channel the other day. So that's probably one thing I like the most that I got, And it's a stone dice set, so it's like cut stone, and the stone has like really beautiful like banding in it. Anyway, I'm really excited to have something like that could possibly last like several lifetimes. Okay, so looking at the build, Evo, funny. Honestly, I mean, an Xbox, your son will definitely get a lot of mileage out of it, I'm sure, right? So, it's not, at the end of the day, if you use it a little bit, but I'm sure there's plenty of family games, That being said, the 3D printer, you know, you'll probably get more use out of it at first, but I'm sure with time he'll grow into it. It's crazy. 5-6 years ago, like, I mentioned 3D printing to my family. It was like deer to headlights, right? And I was speaking with my mom on Christmas Day, and she's telling me how my sister bought my nephew a 3D printer, and she thinks it's the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, Mom, I was telling you about 3D printers like 5 years ago, and you had no interest in it, and you said it was silly and weird and didn't make any sense. And I'm like, oh goodness, it's just funny. And I've been 3D printing for like a decade now. I love 3D printing. It's a fun hobby to pick up, and especially if you even have like an iota of 3D sculpting or Tinkercad skill, you can really do some cool stuff. So I noticed these little pavers I've been putting in, I put them in too high, and they're like raised up above the ground. When you look at them, it's awkward. I'm gonna go and show you. Look at that. It's like up off the ground. So I'm gonna fix these today. And I'm mad at myself for not noticing this sooner, so now I gotta fix tons of pavers. But I found kind of a quick way to do it. If I just copy one that's been sunk into the ground already, it can pass through this one because it has no colliders anymore. And I'll just quickly kind of repeat the pattern. Which, at the end of the day, that's boring, but it's a novel solution. So there's one just directly underneath each of the old ones, and then I delete the top one as I pass back through. This only works, though, because I disabled collisions, and then I sunk one of these pillars just a little bit lower. When you sink something, its colliders on its top disappear, and also when collisions are off, you can merge objects together. I'm really, really hoping we get at least the variant creation tool in the next update. We shall see, though. I also, like, I could mass erase with the eraser, but then it would erase everything else underneath it. I'd rather have a lock tool that I could lock objects and then just everything else would erase. Remy, what you been up to? Any new gigs for you? It's hitting the delete key, so it was quicker there. I really am mad at myself for not noticing this sooner. Luckily, I only have to do it in, like, this one section of the cemetery. I didn't use these anywhere but in this, like, area. That section's fixed. 2 down. Only, like, you know, a bunch more to go. I'm mad at myself. Hey, you know, I didn't notice we had some follows in the last little 20-30 minutes, so let me just shout everyone out. Wilhelm, Blue Mage, OCM on TikTok, thank you so much for the follows, and Pablo Sisto, thank you for the like. Happy holidays, Primal Edge Design. I hope you've been enjoying yourself. And Happy New Year to you and everyone out there, by the way. Appreciate you all being here, especially as we're approaching the end of the year. I'm sure a lot of you have alternate plans that don't really include me or Dungeon Alchemist, so thank you so much for being here. Including our moderators, who I just really couldn't do this without, so thank you so much, mods. Doing audio weekly at a fantasy bar was the... So what's the fantasy bar deal? Tell me about that. Do they do like D&D sessions there? Kind of like Dimension 20 does on stage or whatever? Or is it just like a fantasy themed bar? And what's this new camera? Tell me about it. What kind of camera is it? Asmodeus, though, what was your... Did you get anything cool for your boys that they loved? I got myself something that I like. I'm not even sure I want to tell everyone I got it because I don't know what people will think, because it's just, I got it for the kicks. I love tech, right? All things tech. And I live through this gated community, right? And there's a gate at the front of the community, and then I have my garage door. And I hate that there's two separate devices. It drives me crazy. I have a fob for the gate and a fob for my garage door. And so I saw this device, and I was like, what is this? And it's called a Flipper Zero, right? And I bought it thinking I could program my garage door and my community gate to it and just have one device, and that would be like all I need for it. And I bought this for myself for Christmas thinking it would be relatively easy to do. And like out of the box, that's not the case. It's because like garage doors and community gates have these things called like rolling codes that you can't like necessarily easily like adapt to, so it's like really hard to adjust and make it work without like kind of breaking the law. So I didn't realize this, so I wasn't able to make that work. But it's cool toy. I can use it as a universal remote around the house. I can turn off anything and turn on anything. It like does IR blasting. And then I was able to scan my pets' chips, their chips with it, and save it in the device as a backup. So that's pretty cool. I am not sure what you mean by that. But I was able to scan the chips in both of my dog and my cat. Meaning, you know, like how they have the tracking chips if they get lost or whatever? I just thought that was kind of cool. I didn't... Sometimes your pets annoy you. I'm sure they probably feel the same way. I'm just kidding. Rev, you said you're struggling with the idea with celebration as the theme. Luckily, you got a bit of time to work on it and think on it. I did celebration because I figured it was broader than party and like as a theme and gives you people more choices. So are they like little keys or is it a fob? Is it like a little RFID key? Oh, so you're trying to not do a good little like town center shopping center? Hey David, welcome. So if I'm reading your question correctly, how can I place a room on land that's been raised? You raise the room. So when you're placing a room, you see this arrow here? Whoop, whoop. Now, when you're generating a room, make sure your AI settings have walls on. Are you talking about these? A non-flat room is like an organic room. It's meant to feel like a cave or like just a space outside, like a camp. These won't ever have walls. So that's just like a natural filling of the space, right? Normal rooms, you can disable walls when you generate them, so make sure you don't have this unchecked. I mean, it's on the floor plan. It's just on the left side of the floor plan. You can raise or lower or rotate the building. You can even shape the building before you generate it. Almost got a Stewie head there. Pretty close. Gotcha. They're just RFID fobs. So mine's like an actual like FCC like rolling gate code. I got it to work one time, but then it wouldn't ever work again. It only copies the first code and then it changes every time. So it was like, yeah, I'm going to have to do more research on this. And I just didn't really think it was worth the time. And I felt like I was doing something shady. And so, though I do love the flipper, it does a lot of interesting things. It can act like as a remote for your camera or your phone. The most impressive thing I thought was just backing up my pet's chip IDs, so like if they ever go missing, I have a actual copy of it. Okay, sorry for the boring rebuild here on this, just repaving this. I know this is absolutely mind-numbingly boring, but if you look at the bottom right corner of your screen, you'll see the most absolutely horrifying sight known to man. Mappus. Yeah, it basically when you're generating a room, currently you have to raise it up or lower it if you want it to be done that way. Now remember, you could also use an object room, which they have objects on the workshop that can work in that manner. Nice. That's cool, Asmo. Oh, another gift I got that I was really happy. So I've been kind of tracking down the Blu-ray seasons of Venture Brothers, right? I'm kind of a fanboy of the show. I've been a fan of it for years, since I was like in my teens. And the thing is, I had the show on DVD like all the seasons, but Blu-ray I did not, because they only ever had Blu-ray season 3 through 7, and then the movie came out on Blu-ray, but only Blu-ray, so not DVD. So it's like, ugh, my collection is like some DVDs, some Blu-rays. It's frustrating. Anyway, I ended up getting irritated, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just find all the Blu-rays that I can for Venture Brothers. So I found season 3, 4, 5, and 6 this holiday season, like in the last few months, which they're really hard to track down, all things considered, especially like new in box for a reasonable price. 7 is my unicorn right now. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. Really irritated with that, but it is what it is. I've been like calling bookshops, secondhand stores, thrift stores. I've been calling record stores, like, you know, electronic stores, all places, all over, toy stores, all across the US, right? Looking for a copy of this show's season 7 on Blu-ray, and I can't find it. I've looked through hundreds of pages of search results on multiple different search engines, been to hundreds of websites that look like they haven't been updated in like 2 decades. A bar with no beer? I guess that could be a horrifying sight. Hey, consummate nerd, how you been? So close to done. Nice little rhythm going here, though. So, as you can see, to pretty much fix all of these. Now I just got to go through and delete all the ones that were above. I deserve this. I'm just clicking and pressing the delete key, which is probably the fastest way to rapid delete in this case. Allows me to just kind of quickly zip through the space. Tap and go. Grim Gaming, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Tim Matthews, thank you for the like over on Facebook. Much appreciated. Sounds pretty cool, Asmo. So that's quite a bit of camera. Oh, deleted a headstone. Did not want that gun. Just why not get him a red while you're at it? That's cool, though. Okay. I finally fixed all the pavers over here. Bad Mac. Oh my goodness. That was a waste of stream, but we're back. Okay, so. I mean, yeah, my grandparents used to get me like the noisiest, most annoying toys they could get. So my parents had to deal with it, right? Realm Walker on Twitter asks, is there a way to change the grid height without modifying the dam file? Some objects treehouse block the grid. Many objects are over the grid. Keep in mind, the grid in DA isn't really meant to be used for play. It's meant to be used as a size reference and kind of a placeholder for kind of understanding, you know, where things go and their scale. You're typically meant, like, let's say you're exporting a map to be used with a VTT, you would use the VTT's grid, right? Now, that would put the grid on top of everything. The third-party grid through a virtual tabletop is usually the best way to go. That being said, the next update will include a way to, it automatically raises the grid, so to speak. When you jump up to a new level, the grid pops up to that level, but objects, certain ones, will still be on top of the grid, same as before, unfortunately. Can I ask why you're trying to raise it above it? Like, I understand you want all the objects under it, right? But are you exporting the map for print? Like, what's your plans here? Oof, David, jeez, take it easy, man. You're not supposed to stab yourself. Okay. I'm thinking right here, we need some kind of decor. Let's put like a tree here. Put something like greenish. You'll excuse me, I'm getting a call. I'm not sure who it's from. Sorry about that. I was getting a call and I thought it was my wife's doctor, but it was a wrong number. So, it's all good. Okay. So I'm thinking like benches here, right? Like an L shape to use that kind of to a degree. There was some benches we used over here. Let's repeat and use similar ones so we're not like branching out. We can always resize said bench, make it a little bit. Something like this. Get down. Absolute domineering. Something like that. So, Realm Walker, I can understand your concern there. I mean, Unfortunately, at the end of the day, there really is no way around it when short of what you've mentioned, and sadly, we don't really offer any support for DAM file modification or any guidance for it. So that's kind of something you're on your own there with. We, in fact, discourage it. But there probably is some, simple like grid overlay options that you could use, like via Photoshop or something to do a more on top grid that is not necessarily as restrictive as our personal grid. I do wish we had more control on it. In fact, when we were leading up to this update, I brought up the fact that, the grid needs to adjust with each room or it's going to look really weird being really low if you're 10 floors up, right? And the devs are like, oh, we'll figure something out. And I'm like, it'd be awesome if I could just raise the grid manually with like I can with the floor plan, just a little arrow on the side and then raise it up like this. Unfortunately, that I don't know if they took that to heart or if it's just not viable right now. Yeah, I wish I had a better solution for you, my friend. So we've got a bench here. What else can we put in this space? I don't want to like get too close to these graves. I'm thinking maybe some plant life along this. I hear the trash man. Plants along there. Realm Walker, are you still watching? I saw your Fey Gate or whatever Fey Portal post on Reddit was doing really well. Congrats, my friend. In fact, I cross post like any DA map I can find on Reddit. Merge what into an L? That? Gonna look a little weird no matter what I do. Okay. There are some light posts over here that I use through this garden, which I probably will repeat. Some other ones will likely more, depending on the area, will be more simple. You know what I mean? And there is lighting kind of spread throughout. But depending on the age of the, the graves and stuff like that, there's less likely to be light and, activity there. That being said, I usually go through and add like lighting and that kind of decor after I've filled out a space. The only lighting over here you'll notice is in a few of these like smaller spaces, and I put a light in here to kind of just see what it would look like inside of the mausoleum. But yeah, we have quite a few lights actually. While we're on the topic of lights, did y'all know you can turn on or off every light all at once on your map? The way I envision this map being used is a mystery that leads to several different conclusions or things going on in the cemetery. So one thing I had in the back of my mind is the caretaker is actually running an underground racket where he's selling people's valuables and body parts and stuff like that. So he seems very mild-mannered and chill, but he's actually nefarious is all. Okay? Another one is that the clergy, they may be, I'm torn right now. I'm deciding they'll either hide refugees and like people seeking I don't know. Anyway, people who are like being persecuted or whatever, not necessarily religiously. But if you look in here, there's a secret passage that goes underground behind the confessional. So these kind of spin around. There's like a door there that closes. But the thing is the caretaker only takes valuables from inside the grave, not put on top of the grave, because there's like no one steals from the graves, and he's the only person that would really have access to the graves prior. So he's not necessarily, I don't know. That was kind of how I envisioned it. But he could also be a good guy. I don't know. I don't need to upset anyone. I'm sorry, consummate nerd. But ultimately, I'm not sure really where to go. I also had some blood that I added over here by this dagger that was like dripping. And I was going to lead a trail that led to this here, right? Like through the path, just a little blood trail that eventually goes here. And I was going to act like there was a hatch or something, like a hidden passage under here. Wouldn't that be kind of cool? So it goes to like a dungeon area or a secret area. Either there or in this one here. One or the other. So I had a few plans kind of in mind for making like a secret underground kind of attached map that's a cave or a dungeon type situation, or maybe catacombs, which makes sense that this graveyard would be built on top of like ancient catacombs. Anyway, I have a few kind of intrigue ideas in the back of my head, but I haven't really, like, solidified them yet. You know what I mean? Okay, let's bring it back to daytime. I'm also open to suggestions for intrigue and, like, backstory for this. But yeah, combat on this map would be quite insane, just based on the scale. It's 82 by 82. So I imagine being anywhere on this map would be quite a drudge. Like, could you imagine chasing someone across this or fighting during a funeral or something? Oh man, it's starting to look really good from overhead though. Look at this. Like, doesn't that look really neat and clean over here when you see it all laid out like this? I do like that idea, though, Realm Walker. Just you're starting to see the symmetry popping up and, like, things are looking very, like, very organized, right? So, Evo, what type of printer did you get him? Yeah, I mean, anybody with, like a winged tiefling or a tabaxi monk or Creality V3, something nice. Ugh, I think my printer broke last night. I was printing a joystick piece for my son for his adaptive controller. The print failed at like 80%. It has like a layer shift. So, if you look at this, at the top, the layer shifted and started printing at like like 2 millimeters in the wrong direction for the rest of the print, and it failed. This happened in the middle of the night, so I didn't notice it. And I'm not 100% certain why this happened yet. It's one of two things I'm suspecting at the moment: that either my belt on that axis came loose and needs to be retensioned, which I haven't used this printer in a while for this long, so it's possible. Or the stepper motor on that axis is like dying and having problems, and that seems to be the tentative issue at the moment. Nah, the cat couldn't get at the printer. I always close it off. The other thing is the printer doesn't want to seem to turn on anymore after last night, so I'm not sure what's up with it. Sad, because I've had this printer ages. Oh, thank you. It turned on. It like wouldn't boot. It just was sitting on like a dead screen this morning after the print, so I was very worried. How many levels in Artificer are you? And are you Artificer main, or like, is it mained Artificer or mained Warlock? By the way, Warlock Artificer is like a build that I think is absolutely hilarious. I call it the Wartificer. Right? Huzzah! Portobello Road, Portobello Road. What's your subclass for Artificer? And what's your subclass for Warlock? I think my stepper motor's bad, because when I'm moving my build plate, because my build plate moves, my print head only goes side to side and up and down, but my build plate goes like this, back and forth, right? My other printer doesn't do that. The whole print head is what moves on the other one. So depending on the printer, it's a different thing. But in this case, I think that stepper motor is bad, because when I try to move the build plate, it's really resistant. And I disabled the steppers. Hey, Lemuel, how you doing? Welcome back. Are you ready to rock? So, Rev, I have this dream of eventually doing a Warlock Artificer build called the Wartificer. And you only dip one level into Warlock to grab the Genie Pact. So you can, I mean, you could go up and get your Eldritch Invocations and stuff like that too. Hey, Shoutout! Nice! Welcome to the Dam Fam. Or I guess you could be part of the Damnation? Or the Damily. We're a Damily here. So you get to pick. Which group are you in? We're kind of dividing into 3 subgroups. The Damnation. The Damily. Dam Fam is the last one. Damnation. Nice. By the way, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. You know, as a small indie team, like every little sale like that really helps us out over the long term. I'm glad you took advantage of the sale too. Or did you get it as a gift? Either way, I'm hyped for you. Very hyped. Did you already build your first map? Artillerist. Interesting. Interesting. That sounds fun. So which pact are you with the Warlock, I guess, is what I was asking there. Or is that at a different level, right? I can't remember. Is that in that first level with the Warlock, right? I just thought, like, a Warlock has to have a pact to get their powers, right? To even be able to cast any spells. So, unfortunately, you can only rotate objects currently on one axis, and it's this right here. Depending on the object, they may be locked or don't allow you to, but if you disable collisions, you can also raise objects up and down, stuff like that. At some point, we hope to address this, and it's been asked by our community many times, but it's something that needs to be tackled very carefully to make sure that the object still looks and functions to a degree. Looks good and functions to a degree. Lemuel, you can always supplement, doors through the workshop. There's hundreds of doors, and those ones can all be rescaled. Some of them even open and close because they have animated states. Now, that being said, I'm not sure if we'll ever address things that are considered gargantuan in size. I've never really heard the devs talk about, like, doing an update that's scaled for giants or large stuff. Our next update, Sage, is called Fun with Objects, right? And in that update, we're looking to implement a bunch of new quality of life features, and one of them that's been discussed is the ability to rotate an object on any axis. I don't know if that will happen for sure, but it's been discussed quite a bit. Also, Lemuel, I was going to let you know, if you stay away from the doors here and just look at objects, like under structural, for instance, like masonry, there's some neat, like, gates. These metal gates work great for, like, a big, city gate or something like that. Because you could scale it. And that could work for, a giant type thing. Anyway, just throwing that out there. Oh, this gate here, pretty cool. Workshop. I would definitely recommend hopping on the workshop, though, and just typing door. There's tons. This is a big double door that works with 2 pieces. The person who won the Dam Challenge is Wilkie Twycross. We announced it Saturday, and then later today I'm going to put up an announcement in our Discord showcasing them as the winner, and then announcing the information for the next challenge, including when it's due by. They're considered DA objects? No. They'll work in DA, but they're not considered DA objects. All the objects on the workshop were shared by people in our community. Passionate community members who, have an artistic flair and love sharing their skills. Some of the assets are third-party assets that have been uploaded that may have a Creative Commons. Some of them are made entirely from scratch. But like this bee, for instance, uploaded by Centimar Devarian. Credits, B, and then they link where they got it from by Cat Studio, licensed under Creative Commons Attribution. So this particular asset, as long as it's being shared without the intent to resell, is for personal use, no commercial intent, then it can be used in this way. The person who shared it initially said, as long as you credit me and mention the license for it, then it's okay. As a category, they're put in whatever categories they were set up in when the creator uploaded them. So when you upload an asset to the workshop, you can categorize it and say, I want it in this category. So it will put it in that category in DA. By default, there's this downloaded objects section, which has all of them. But in each category throughout DA, you're bound to find objects that are from the workshop. You see this one here that has this little icon there that's like a little cloud? I'm kind of pointing at it with the icon here. That cloud icon with that arrow in it, that means it was downloaded from the workshop. So at a glance, you could tell that something is from the workshop. Does that make sense? Q1 2025 is the best estimate we can give right now. Hey, Runamuck, how you doing? So, I mean, at the moment, we're getting pretty close, but the team is out of office right now. It's vacation for the holidays, you know. Pretty much all of them are out until January 6th. Okay, what else can we put here? Could do something like this. Like an entryway, maybe? Pergola type thing. Down a little bit. We could cover it with like ivy. Cool. I like that a lot. Hey, thank you, Sage. Yeah, I've been working on it for a while. So every Monday I host Mapmaker Monday. This particular stream is a focus on building a map in real time for our community to watch and learn. A wisteria, huh? Right here? I'll consider it. I kind of like the Dryad, mainly because it's not used that much in most maps because it's a Kickstarter item. I always like to try and include. Nice, Traveler. Hope you're learning a lot today, in fact. That's kind of the point of these streams, is so people can tune in, learn in real time from someone who's spent a tremendous amount of time, you know, providing support for Dungeon Alchemist and building maps in it. So the new Dam Challenge is Celebration, though you don't really need to worry about it too much until I've announced it officially in the Dam Challenge channel. Mainly because I usually tell everyone to take the weekend off, and I wait until after I've like officially announced it in the Dam Challenge channel who the winner was and whatnot. That way you don't need to, rush it over the weekend. You're brave enough to enter challenge. Remember, the challenge is against yourself, not the community. So really, you're getting to the point where you are brave enough to challenge yourself to try and make a map for a submission. And all I can say is, when you do find that point where you're willing to do so, you'll start noticing your map making will grow and exponentially get better. Because you're practicing all these different themes and ideas you never really considered. You're seeing all these different maps that people are submitting, and they're giving you ideas. It really gets the brain spinning. But at the end of the day, remember, the damn challenge isn't to be like, super competitive against anyone else. It's really just to kind of test yourself and see what you're capable of. But if you do win, it's a nice bonus. Right? Frozen really brought in a lot of new faces. It was also the last damn challenge of the year, which made me excited. And now we're on to the first damn challenge of the year, which has also got me excited. Does that look good? I kind of want to put like some pavers through here too, kind of leading to this stuff. Looking for a happy flower. Yeah, I already answered them. I think there are some fireworks on the workshop. I might be crazy though, but I don't know if they're animated or not. So back in the day, I used to play Lotro, Lord of the Rings Online, and they used to have a festival like every spring in the Shire, and you could get fireworks. And it was like one of the only times of the year you could buy them back in the day, and it was so fun to buy fireworks in the game and just like be in the middle of a raid and Leroy Jenkins and just run up to the boss and put some fireworks up. Like one of my favorite things to do. Oh, nice. Like Fellowship? Nice. Is that their first time watching, or? You pulled a Ferris Bueller? So you just, watch the Fellowship get ripped apart and people die and the movie's over. Sorry. He's brutal. Honestly, so I'm usually the sole judge unless a dev or an artist on the team wants to help. But really, there really is not like a set like qualification or like, 1 through 5 on these things, technicality, lighting, all that stuff. What I'm looking for is essentially creativity and also something fun. You know what I mean? I often look for something that really just, and I wouldn't say stands out, because a lot of times the maps are very similar just due to their theme. But I often look for something that I feel like was not only like creative, but like something new, something that maybe challenges our ideas of what DA can do. Also, I often just love, sometimes when you can get a map that speaks volumes, even in a simple setting. You know what I mean? Like, we've had maps that are tiny that win over massive, heavily detailed maps. So at the end of the day, remember, it's a friendly competition, okay? It's to challenge yourself to become a better cartographer. That's the first thing there. It's not a competition against anyone else. Everyone else is really just there competing against themselves. And then what's on the line isn't, super intense. It's a $10 Hero Forge gift card. So we're not like putting up so much on the line that people are like at risk of losing something serious. And I recommend to people to really not invest too much time into it, unless of course, you need the map for something else, or you just enjoy putting that much time into it. Oh, no, map makers have tried to bribe me, actually. And not with gifts, but like putting my name in the map and stuff like that. Yeah, the benefit is the gift card is really just our way of saying thank you for being part of our community and participating in the damn challenge, and that we just loved your work. Realistically, though, no one has to participate. No one's forced to participate. And it's really just a fun way to improve your map making skills and kind of just grow as a cartographer. That's it. Okay, so we added the garden here, this little seating area. I might even be able to add one more chair, like one more bench here. Do you think that's crammed in? Yeah, too close to the path. I don't like it. Oh. Okay, let's finish out this side here, because I knew I planned to do this last time. You know what Whim sometimes hides in DA? Easter eggs. There's actually quite a few Easter eggs in Dungeon Alchemist that have not even been discovered yet, I guess. Well, it's mainly because when it comes to building cities, it's mostly dependent on having a really powerful computer. When you scale up in Dungeon Alchemist, you need to have a very powerful machine that can handle a massive size map and all the assets and lighting on it. Typically, when you start doing that, it requires a very massive, like a powerful machine, or it requires you do force perspective. And by that, I mean you would scale objects down to make them look like smaller in a city. You know what I mean? There are maps that are great examples on the workshop that I can recommend to take a look at, and they're really great because you can dissect them and pull them apart and kind of reverse engineer them. When it comes to building a city, I mean, you could build it each room at a time using the room generator, and that's great and all, but I think it'll start becoming kind of bland and generic. You're going to want to mix in structures that have roofing, and you're going to want like, winding roads and little things like that. That is, I think, more skills acquired over time. not necessarily, instantaneously. But that being said, like if you look here, here's Fandolin Town. This one's 71 by 40. But what they did here is they used forced perspective and objects. So they scaled objects way down to make it look like it's a big city with lots of buildings in it, right? And the objects they used are available to anyone through this right here, the Browse Asset tab. So you could search like house. And there's hundreds of houses on here, if not thousands now, that have roofing on them. These are just great filler homes. These are like the homes in a village no one's going into, right? They're just extra filler. So that's one way, forced perspective. But there are literal cities on Dungeon Alchemist's workshop that are massive. One second. So you could look in here. There's several that are forced perspective, but there's also some that are full size, like this massive city here. I'm trying to look for a very specific city. This one's one of my favorites. Port City. Let me just save this one more time. I want to make sure I don't lose my work. Give you an example of forced perspective, though. I think this is one of the best examples of a city map using forced perspective. Because you get a massive city that looks huge and grandiose in scale. It could easily have 10,000 people in it in a fantasy setting. And that's quite large for, a fantasy setting. Especially in DA. But right now, when it comes to like larger scale maps, city maps, regional maps, a lot of that stuff is done using either trickery or just a really, really powerful computer. One moment. This is almost downloaded. But when it comes to a city, really, Sage, is start in one area and start expanding upon it. Start, like a market square or something, or maybe a slums, and then build off of that. But if you're going to want a big city, you're going to have to build each area a piece at a time and just see how your computer can handle it as you keep expanding the map until you kind of hit the limit of what you can make. But here you have a massive city, a port city surrounded with a wall. And all of this here, actually, if you look at it in scale, it's very tiny. Like, this is the normal grid stuff, right? And these houses look tiny if you put them into that perspective. Because they're objects that have just been rescaled down to make them look much more natural in this setting. Here we have a graveyard, much simpler than mine. So what did you upgrade in them? What did you change? No worries. That's what I'm here for, is to answer your questions. I definitely want to make sure you get your questions answered. But like up here, you have a big castle with towers and walls and a bridge leading to it. And there's water and exterior rock walls. But all this is just hundreds of objects. None of these buildings are enterable, technically, because you can't take the roof off. But if one of your players is like, hey, I want to go in this shop, you could just make an L-shaped building in DA and then have a separate scene for them to enter. Remember, this is a representation of a game that is fantasy. And so they don't need to be able to go into every single building like a sandbox within the same map. You can always have a separate map indicative of each of these houses, each of these buildings. The chapel, the castle, everything on it. How big is this map? Texture and mesh upgrade, cool. 70 by 90. Spellbound, thank you for sharing the live. By the way, thank you TikTok for all the likes. We're now at over 1,000 likes. Much appreciated. I mean, right now, because Dungeon Alchemist doesn't natively support generating massive cities, yeah, it is a lot of work. you're going to do a lot of this by hand. There's really no way to speed it up. You're going to have to roll up your sleeves, dive in if you want a city, and build it by hand for the most part. I mean, yeah, you could use room generation and start on like a big 60 by 60 map and put it in a forest or somewhere with like a river and just start generating buildings and then just kind of expand out. But remember, if you want to add a lot of life to a place, you're going to have to decorate each area and kind of expand upon that. Donjon challenge, right? Spellbound. So you can always use the room generation to start building various aspects of a city. Here, let's put a smithy. This will speed things up tremendously, but it may lack, you know, some of the detail you might be looking for overall, is all. I'm going to move this over here, and I'm going to regenerate that structure around the door. When you move the door, the AI regenerates the room around it. So there's that. Bothers me so much. That's centered. Why did it pick a double door? Oh, DA. So, we got this. And then let's say you wanted roads attached to this, right? Let's add a few different shops here. I'm going to put a baker right here. And then I'll put a butcher shop across the street. That this with the weird sharp corners in the back. Right? Then let's put a magic shop with an alley between the two. And I'm just going to generate a bunch of little things, right? So now I've generated a bunch of businesses in the town center, right? Let's say I wanted some roads here. What I do for roads in a city that I wanted to be like nice structured square roads, I go to the alley room type, and then I turn off walls, I turn off objects, everything. I just leave flooring. What is an alley? An alley is just a road with, you know, some walls around it, right? So I can draw this now. Say I go out like this. And here I'll draw this alley piece that I left there between the two. Can even have this road extend out here. So you see these little dots on the edge of the floor plan? When you pull them in directly, it curves. When you pull out, it does a bite. And when you pull to the side before you pull in, it does a straight line. Some roads over here, curve it this way, it leaves the city. Okay? Now, I'm going to generate this just to give you an idea of what I just did. Now I just generated roads in that entire city. Like all throughout, like there's alleys, I could put fences and stuff back here. I could even keep building around this as I put in new homes. And guess what? These alley type rooms, they're really cool in the regard of the type of flooring it is. You could just keep refreshing the room type and it'll change between different types of stone. So you could find the one that's more akin to the style you were looking for. Heck, you could have it be all dirt if you want. Once it's floor, it's really easy to change to something else. So this is just a room without walls at the end of the day. That's what I built here, okay? That's what this road is a room without walls. But it's an alley without walls. I mean, it can hold your hand and do a lot of the work for you, Sage, but if you have some creativity, it's like cranking it up to 11. You know, I find that the people who are willing to kind of step out their comfort zone, and instead of just using just the AI for room and environment generation, that's where you start seeing the craziest builds on the workshop. You know what I mean? Because the AI can do a lot, and it's designed to save you time, speed up your session prep. Like if you just generate rooms like I just did like this, at the end of the day, it is going to be very, very quick making a city like this, you know? Remember, our AI is ethical AI. It's not generative AI, okay? It's not like, like Midjourney or ChatGPT or anything like that. And our AI was developed entirely in-house using assets that were created in-house by our talented team of artists. Okay, the AI never uses assets from the workshop, and the AI was never trained on any public maps or data. It was trained internally 100% on our own private data sets and maps using our own custom objects. So at no point do we scrape the internet for any art or public information to train our AI. So when you're using our AI, it's exactly as we intended. And honestly, I do think it's great to generate a basic shape, and then you can go in and fine-tune it and make a few adjustments, make the floor plan a little bit more fine-tuned to your needs. Now, at the end of the day, you could also just generate it empty, a room without anything in it, just walls and windows and doors, no objects, decorated 100% inside. So just generate the floor plan, right? Same with the environment. I mean, that's AI-based too, but it's all procedural-based AI that was ethically developed. So at the end of the day, I wouldn't call it cheating. I mean, you bought this tool to save time, right? And make beautiful maps. It's definitely not required to be creative to, like, get amazing results in Dungeon Alchemist. In fact, anyone can pick it up and start making beautiful maps in moments. But, like I said, if you spend some time and, start learning all the in-depth features. Oh, what does the collision toggle do? Oh, there's an object eraser. You start diving into the advanced menus of all these things, and you're looking at the assets on the workshop. It starts becoming a different tool entirely to those who, decide to learn a little bit more about it. That's all. But the best thing about Dungeon Alchemist is it's designed to grow and scale with you. So you kind of start, it's easy to understand, very easy to grasp and dive into basic concepts. And then before you know it, you're like, wait, how do I do this? It's something a little bit more advanced, and a little bit more advanced. And then, within a week or two, you're just becoming a super, super fluid, advanced cartographer. Okay. Back to my map. We got 17 minutes left. I wonder how much I could build in that time. Hey, I missed this shout out earlier. Slyly Fox, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. If you're still here, thank you. And if you're not, still enjoy that shout out. May you be immortalized forever. Okay. Let's put like some flowers. Maybe some moss or something. I don't know what to put here. I feel like this is done. Is it cheating when you are using all the tools at your disposal that were literally given to you for that purpose? At the end of the day, our team wanted to make sure our AI was ethically developed, and I also really don't like lumping us in with other AIs like Midjourney, not just because they're like a lot of people frown upon them, but because they're next gen generative AI and we are last gen procedural AI. Procedural AI, you've been using it in video games for years. It's in Minecraft, it's in all sorts of games that generate the environment at random, right? That's procedural generation. Hey, see you later, Sage. Thank you for being here. A bird bath is a good idea, Traveler. I like that. I like that. Let's see if we have a little bird bath we can use. I know that Sack uploaded one recently. Let's go download it. Spellbound, where is Spellbound out? Having trouble. Having issues scaling down objects with the object painter? Yeah, one moment. I'll take a look and see what I can come up with for you, okay? Grab this bird bath really quick. I'm glad to hear your players are loving the map, Slyly. That makes my day. Did I put this bird bath like right in front of this? And then just sink it down so it looks like it's part of the tree? It actually kind of looks cool. Like a font. Well, welcome to the stream. And well, depend. I'll let you pick which faction you're in, okay? So you can be part of the Damily, the Dam Fam, or the Damnation. You get to pick one of those three. Bird. I just noticed I have a goose, and this goose needs to be in this pond. We need a goose. Not standing on it. Hello. Honk! No worries, no pressure. I know you're new here. We just like to make you come in and decide which faction you're going to be part of. No joke though. Like, you don't need to decide. It's just a fun thing we do on the stream sometimes when people come in. Faction stats, they're all people who love Dungeon Alchemist to just like to be called a slightly different faction name. There's no real numbers or tracking or information behind it. Has nothing to do with anything in our community other than it's just fun. We all just have a different variation of what we want to be. Yeah, you can literally change your faction by the moment. Like, I'm kind of sly that way with other things too. I'm one of those people that's chaotic neutral, and I will use GIF and GIF interchangeably in the same sentence. So, talking about object scaling with the object brush, okay? You have first brush size. Brush density mainly implies how many objects get painted, not the size of the actual object, okay? Then you can go into the AI, the advanced panel here. Obviously, object rotation. Scaling randomness, okay? Scaling average. If you put the scaling average high, it means the objects will be much larger, okay? Brush size high, also it will increase the objects a bit, okay? If you put your scaling randomness at low, what that means is the object scaling will be focused around the scale average instead of randomizing the scale to be bunches of different sizes, okay? So let's take like a rock. That's as large as it can default scale to for these rocks. I mean, at that scale average, sorry. If we push this up, let's go over here where we have more room to work. Notice the rocks are bigger. If we do it down here, though, they're much smaller. So that is as large as you can make them, is by doing the scale average up all the way. But they'll still have some kind of differentiation between them, because the point of the brush is to rapidly paint objects and have them look different, right? Now, our next update is including 2 new features, one of which is a custom object brush, which I think a lot of people will love. And this will allow you to pick any object, whether it's something you downloaded from the workshop or something stock, and make a brush out of that object. You can also change the density size, and just like normal. So you can make a custom brush. There is one new feature also being added in the object panel that is not shown in this video, but it's the universal scaling across your map. Now, what this will do is you could set the scaling of all objects to be universally smaller or universally larger or just average. So, meaning all objects will generate much larger or much smaller. This might lend credence to like giant scale environments or small scale Lilliputian environments. Anyway, let's look at this. This feature will be in the next update. In fact, both features I just mentioned. The universal scaling of objects, and then the custom object brush. Oh, I've shared this on stream a few times, actually. But, yeah. I guess this is the first time you've caught it, huh? There's a few new features that I'm very excited for in the next update. The stamp is one of them. So you'll be able to essentially paint like textures across surfaces at all angles in the next update. So like here's an example of moss taking over a library. Oh, the universal scaling? Yeah, we talked about it a couple of times on stream. I'll make a video of it to showcase it. What's up, Rev? Oh, what program am I using? I'm using Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is a map making and immersion tool available on Steam. There's a free demo. It's a modest demo, only 6.7 gigs, so it's not going to just destroy your computer installing it or eat up all your data. So the demo is just a small slice of the pie. It's only one of our like 12, 13 biomes, only one room type, and like a handful of our thousands of objects. But it allows you to build a tavern in a forest, and you can export it for print or your virtual tabletop of choice like Foundry, Roll20, etc. So this tool allows you to build maps for your tabletop gaming campaigns such as D&D, Pathfinder, etc. You're a new DM looking to make your own maps. Well, you found the right place to drop in. So with Dungeon Alchemist, you can make maps in moments with a few clicks, or you can dive in and build very intricate, detailed maps like you're seeing here. This one we've been working on about an hour a week on the stream every Monday to kind of teach people and guide them to learn how to make maps and use the tool, with more pro and advanced concepts. Okay. Oh, nice. That sounds cool. Sounds cool. So you got a group of players lined up and everything? Do something else for a minute. Well, first off, congratulations on your session 0. Session 0 is always smart. It's a good idea to sit down with the players, make sure they're on the same page, maybe even make character sheets together, and talk about, safety rules for the players to make sure, you don't pass any boundaries or dive into any subject matter that people on the table might find, gross or unfun. Oh, that's fun. I always love talking about campaigns, by the way. So if y'all want to talk about your map making, but also talk about what you're doing in your campaigns, homebrew, stat blocks, what your players' shenanigans they get up to are, please, let's talk about it. I love that stuff. But, Cheeto, right now, Dungeon Alchemist is on sale through the Steam Winter Sale, so you can actually snag it at 20% off. And it's a great tool to just kind of help you assist with your map making. Whether you're playing in person, you can print the maps, or you can, put them on a TV tabletop by running Dungeon Alchemist directly to your TV or projector tabletop. Alternatively, you can play online with, a virtual tabletop software like Fantasy Grounds, Roll20, etc. And our maps export directly to those tools. So we have an export menu that you can export the map for your virtual tabletop or platform of choice. And then you can take that and put it into that program, and all the lighting, the walls, line of sight information, etc. is transferred over. I never really thought about that, Traveler, but that is kind of an interesting concept. But our lighting, you can kind of adjust where the shadow is, so you really have a lot of control over that. Basically, if you go to the lighting panel here, you could set time of day, but you can also change, like, brightness and position of the light that's being cast. You can also set time of day with this kind of like, this is like a sunset to a high noon difference, like it's directly above, so there's far less shadow. I prefer to have some shadow at least, because very rarely are your players just going to be in a high noon setting all day. To be honest, I've been kind of just going by the seat of my pants with this build. I really had no plans as I went, and it's been going and going a little bit at a time, but I'm excited to see where it's gone so far. Next is all homebrew. Dang, Sly. Oh, dang. That's quite an interesting hook for a homebrew. How long you been running that campaign, Slyly? Nice. Well, congratulations to you. I'm glad you found a group, and hopefully you're able to get through all of your stuff. Remember, at the end of the day, your story, your arc, your plans, they they may end up taking a second fiddle to what your players feel is the most important thread to follow. And I've found from experience, it's always good to plan to have your story be more like a bumper rail than an actual, like, pathway. You know what I mean? Whereas you have them kind of veer off to the side here a little bit, and they veer off to the side here a little bit to kind of follow side arcs and quests and their own personal projects. But then once in a while, they have to hit a guardrail that bumps them back towards the overarching plot, right? I'm sorry for the unsolicited advice there. I say that for all DMs watching. I think a lot of us kind of can get into this mindset of the story has to be like what we've written or what we plan. And despite that, or despite our best efforts, our players always seem to, I guess, make sure that implodes and doesn't happen. Oh, awesome. Then you know what you're doing. Excuse me. Need some water. Trying to bust out a bunch of builds before the end here. But I do feel like a reasonable amount of work was done today. I fixed all the pavers, which was my bad. But we added in this new little kind of seating area garden. I started out the pathing towards the caretaker's cabin area. We kind of discussed the backstory of this map and where it's kind of heading in my head canon right now. Do you think there's room for another row of graves this way? I'm just trying to figure out how to best approach it. I think like a curved stone path that's straight so the headstones could be back to back with this. And then there could be rows on either side. And then maybe like another garden over here or a pond or something behind all this. Hey, Michelle, no worries. Happy holidays to you, too. I understand this time of year, people are traveling, they have family and friends over. You know, so much going on this time of year. So don't stress it at all, my friend. I appreciate you popping in. You know, whether it's for a minute or the whole time or at the end or at the beginning, whatever works for you. Just, I'm glad you made it. So, in fact, actually, we're actually getting ready to wrap up for the day. But with that in mind, I would like to point out that, today's stream was an overwhelmingly awesome success. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you all. We discussed a lot of neat concepts, introduced a lot of new people to our community today, a lot of new people on the stream today. So welcome one and all the new faces that dropped in. We're eager to learn. You know, whether it's your first stream or your 100th you've been to here today, whether you're actively chatting or lurking, whether you're one of the mods or, one of our longtime supporters or someone who just got Dungeon Alchemist today. Thank you so much for supporting this community initiative, these streams. We try to host Mapmaker Monday every Monday without fail, unless, of course, there's like a holiday or something going on. You can always depend on, there being a stream for you to tune into and enjoy every Monday morning so you can kick your week off right, get rid of that case of the Mondays and have some fun. Also, thank you for everyone that participated in the last Dam Challenge. It was great. We showed off your map Saturday and we picked a new theme. The next theme is celebration. So it's a new year. Kind of figured we kick off the new year coming up with the first Dam Challenge of the year to celebrate the new year. Now, celebration is a loose theme. It can be about whatever you want. It can be a party. It could be a birthday. It could be a coronation ceremony. It could be a group of players celebrating at a tavern after defeating the big bad. It could be whatever you want. Remember, celebration is just a loose theme that you use to make a map of any shape or size and then submit to the Damn Challenge channel in our Discord. Pinned at the top of that channel are some rules that you need to adhere to for your entry to qualify. But short of that, as long as you're following the server rules, community rules, etc., your entry should be fine. And if your entry is a winner, you win a $10 Hero Forge gift card. Your map is the first map featured on our Damn Challenge stream and is promptly featured in our weekly newsletter, the Cartomancer Chronicles. Now, I will point out just a couple of upcoming events besides the Damn Challenge. Our next stream Wednesday is actually canceled. The office hour stream is canceled because it's New Year's. I'll be off that day, that night and day. Getting a little, tying one off, I guess, a little bit, celebrating the new year. I will be out of office, so there will be no stream this Wednesday as there normally is in our Discord, but every Wednesday we normally have a stream otherwise. This upcoming Saturday, though, is the Damn stream. We will be hanging out and enjoying each other's company, the first stream of the new year. So make sure you tune in this upcoming Saturday to hang out with us as we showcase maps and assets from the Steam Workshop and provide real-time AMA support, which means Ask Me Anything. So you can drop in the stream, have a whole list of questions, Dungeon Alchemist-related questions, and I will sit there and provide support in real time to make sure you understand what you're getting into and have guidance and someone walking you through the process, okay? Whether it's exporting a map or building a multi-level tower or you're just trying to figure out how to resize an object properly, I'm here for you, okay? So make sure you tune into the streams for real-time support, but during the downtime in between, you can always ask us a question on any of our social network platforms, or you can drop in our Discord and spin up a question or support thread, and someone from my community, a moderator, myself, one of the devs may drop in and answer your question. Pretty active there, so if you need support in between, feel free to drop in. So thank you again, everyone, for being here. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is a map-making utility available on Steam. It happens to be on sale, 20% off for the Steam Winter Sale. And we offer a free demo for anyone who is kind of interested in trying Dungeon Alchemist but isn't sure if it's something they want to participate in yet. Try the demo, download it, see how it runs on your computer, make yourself a tavern in a forest, export it, have your players check it out. I'm sure they'll love it, but the demo is a great way for you to kind of try before you buy. And remember, that sale is running through the 20th. So if you want to, or not the 20th, the 2nd. So if you want to participate and get Dungeon Alchemist at a discounted price, now is the time. Hey, Asmodeus, thank you for worrying, my friend. Honestly, I wouldn't go out or anything. I'd just be at home with the fam, just having a couple of drinks to celebrate the new year. You know what I mean? Nothing crazy. Couple of cocktails. Anyway, thank you so much for everyone being here, participating in Mapmaker Monday. And, I unfortunately, I have to step away. So we'll see you next time I give a damn. Back out. Bye. See you later, everyone. We're going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad, which I think some of our new viewers might find hilarious, as I'm sure, DMing is like herding cats, as we said earlier in chat. That was quite hilarious there, Slyly. You might like this ad actually a lot for that reason. We're going to run a quick 30-second ad, and then we'll end the stream, all right?
You stand before the long, dark road to the fabled realm of Doyak Ta, and before
What do we see?
I don't know, a goblin.
I kill him!
But before she does, I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to know the goblin's name.
Hi, my name is Woblin.
Where do you live there, Woblin?
I don't think that's relevant.
Well, but I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to seek the goblin's abode.
Clever, find family, kill entire bloodline. I like it.
Seriously, we're doing this? Okay, well, won't be needing that anymore, will I?
Ever get caught by your players with your pants down? Dungeon Alchemist lets you create wonderful maps for any encounter in seconds.
Oh, Woblin, that's a very impressive cheese collection you've got there.
Yeah, it is quite impressive, yes. But you know what's more impressive? This map I have to the
Fabled realm of Goyak-Ta. Please take it and leave. Close the door behind you.
Mr. Woblin, I cannot help but notice that you have a secret tunnel underneath your cabinet. Care to explain?
Download Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered mapmaker, on Steam today.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for that brief Dungeon Alchemist themed ad. I'm sure you've all been there. You have a session prepped out, and your players completely derail it for something you had no plans for whatsoever. So Dungeon Alchemist to the rescue, allowing you to whip up Woblin's hut in moments. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Inconceivable! You should never mess with the Sicilian when death is on the line. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Appreciate you all. We'll be back on Saturday, first stream of the new year, the Damn stream. Hope to see you there. That'll be at noon PST, 3 p.m. Eastern, and 8 p.m. UTC. Thank you, everyone. Have a happy and safe new year. Back out. Bye.